This video is brought to you by Kempower, the reliable, quick, and scalable EV charging solution for everyone and everywhere. And this video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world. They are also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to beautiful Northern California and welcome to the new Honda Prologue electric SUV. And you join me and Alyssa in this beautiful place to drive this pretty nice looking electric car. And I'm pretty excited about it. I've had time to spend with the chief engineer of this project. I've had time to spend with the product planner for this project. So I'm a little bit up to speed on everything. It is the sister car, essentially, platform sharing with the Chevy Blazer electric. And so I have a lot of the differences, a lot of the similarities here. We're going to be exploring those together. We're going to be exploring that Honda and GM partnership, if this was the right decision or what at least it led to in terms of an overall package. And we have some cool places to go see and drive in this thing. We have it for about 3 hours of driving. So, you know, a very initial first drive test. And Alyssa, are you freaking pumped?
Oh, I'm pumped. I love Hondas.
Yeah, we do have our resident Honda enthusiast behind the camera here. Alyssa's driven Hondas her whole life. She has a very positive perception of the brand. So it'll be interesting to see her viewpoint of this electric SUV coming from also driving every EV on the market, I would say. So much to get into. Hopefully people don't understeer into me where I'm standing on the outside of this corner. Not the safest place. But let's review the new Honda Prologue Electric. All right, where do I start with this thing? There's so much to get into with this whole GM Honda collaboration. This is a car that I've been really curious to try out, and honestly something I didn't know much about until I got here. So it's been really eye-opening, and I hope to share these learnings with you and explain where this vehicle fits in the marketplace. 296 mile EPA, 48 grand. That's before the tax credit, which Honda expects this car to get. And if you lease it, they know for sure it'll go in the tax credit. It's so complicated, the new tax laws for 2024, that even the automakers don't know if they qualify or not up until some forms are filled out. But they expect to get the $7,500 tax credit, at least at the time of this recording. Alyssa, your impressions of that? That's basically 40 grand for this thing after the credit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great price point for something like this. And once we get into just like the interior and how things feel, it's a lot of, I mean, not a ton of car for the money, I would say. I mean, compared to like my Audi e-tron, but it's a great price point and for a brand new car. And I mean, it looks great in my opinion. And yeah, we'll get into all the niggles of everything and to see if it really is even worth that kind of money, which I think it is. Right,
so you can only get the standard front wheel drive as your primary axle on the standard car. And then there's a few trims, EX, Touring, and then this is the Elite, the top spec. Elite is standard all-wheel drive, so this is the full top spec version. This one's about $10,000 more than the base car. So you have a $10,000 option spread. And you know, I think that's very reasonable for what you get out of this thing. You get a really nice interior, sunroof, more power, being all-wheel drive, and it's really interesting to see a lot of the decisions they've made here. Let's show everyone around the back. You can see a Honda Prologue coming around the corner here, get you some dynamic driving shots. Very nice. Come around the back, guys. This is a very nice looking vehicle, and to me, much more pleasing to the eye than the Blazer.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I just got to remember what the Blazer looked like for just a second.
Yeah, it had that weird power charge port door that was really slow.
Oh, yeah.
And all that other stuff. Let's take a look at trunk space, which is something that's important for an electric SUV. And then, of course, we'll go through all the nerd specs here in a moment. But that is pretty good. Very wide. This is a very wide car. And there's a underfloor storage, quite deep. Look at this. Wow. Very nice. And then this, I guess you can pull a lot of the plastic out. Towing eye, not bad, not bad. No spare tire, it seems. But let's see what it looks like when we fold the seats down. So again, this one being the top spec.
Wow, the little latches are matching the color of the car.
Yeah, because I guess it's part of the body in white and they get painted before.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, and there seems to be multiple latching positions almost, so they're not completely flat, but it folds pretty flat. This is big. Not much height, though, and especially right back here, if you look up to the viewers here, this is pretty shallow.
Yeah, that's very shallow.
But I think it also helps a lot with aero So there's two seating positions. So I can go to the first latch, or I can recline it even more to the second latch, and you get like an extra 1 or 2 degrees of rear seat recline. I actually tend to prefer sitting pretty upright. You guys know that, so that's cool. They seem to have the spot for like a cargo cover partition to go in, but this one is not equipped with that at the moment. We'll do a backseat review and everything. Let's walk through the nerd specs, because of course this is what I care about. This is the second time I've pulled the hatch. I don't know why. You got to hit this button and then it just closes on the top spec at least. Prologue Elite. This is the new E badge indicating it's electric and it's all-wheel drive, AWD. So, powertrain stuff, nerd stuff. Okay, we have a 85 kilowatt hour usable battery pack. I think around 89 gross is what I've deduced from the EPA documents on the Blazer. Same battery pack. 150 kilowatt peak charging speeds. I've heard someone driving one of the test cars saw 155. We are not able to charge this car today. Honda said not possible. I said, but I came all the way to California to try your car and you won't let me charge it? They said, yes.
Yes, you can.
What the heck? I mean, I'm just trying to drain it so I have an excuse to charge it. So I've been ripping on it, trying to get the battery dead, so I have to go to a charger. I don't know. I just think that's kind of silly. An electric car, charging is the most important part of an electric car. There should be a charging component of every new vehicle launch so journalists understand what the heck we're even talking about. I did speak with the chief engineer of this car. He was awesome. I don't think we'll be able to get him on camera, but he was really, really candid about the vehicle. He said it's 150 kilowatt peak, but it doesn't hold it that long. Maybe, you know, we'll do all the charging tests, but he's like, it could be a fatter curve. It should match the Blazer EV's curve though on this 85 kilowatt hour usable pack. Now the Lyriq charges faster and the ZDX will charge faster. That's the Acura version on the Ultium platform, but those are a larger battery, longer platform. This car is actually built in Mexico, and this one's a pre-production but production intent vehicle. And that also brings up another question, but we'll get into that in a moment. Front wheel drive is standard, permanent magnet motor. I'll have to insert the power figures because I don't remember them offhand. It's not that fast. Even this all-wheel drive version, not that fast, but it's certainly enough to get you out of your own way. The all-wheel drive, making it nice for stability and helpfulness in off-road conditions or snow and ice. I think a lot of people, especially in Colorado, will be going for the all-wheel drive trim. Also just for a little bit extra punch when you need it, sort of in that 25 to 60 mile an hour range is where you really feel that extra kick from the rear motor. The rear motor is induction. It's just a small sort of helper motor, if you will. Most of the work is done front wheel drive up here, and I believe silicon, not silicon carbide inverters on this one as well. Am I nerding out a little bit too much? Let's show everyone the charging port. Honda has committed to the North American charging standard to gain access to the better plug, the Tesla supercharger network, and a few other benefits. It is a manual charge port door. Let's all rejoice. Normally I'm a power charge port door kind of guy, but the Lyriq and the Blazer have the worst power charge port doors known to man. They pop out and go boom, 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 on the Lyriq, and the Blazer is like, and the whole time you're sitting there like, God damn it, I just want to get the plug in the car. So here, bam, smack it and plug it in, even though it just closed itself. But you get the idea. Much better. This is not good, this flap. It should just be like a fold down flap or an open flap, but this, you can just rip that off. This is annoying, but at least it slides in nicely. You don't have to like fiddle around with it too much. 11 kilowatt onboard charger, 48 amp, of course. Again, I mentioned 150 kilowatt DC fast charging speeds. The operating voltage of this car is quite low. It's like 320, 330, 340 nominal, somewhere around there. And it only takes a 350 amp request from the charger. So Tesla Magic Dock stations on V3, no, you'll be maxing out the car's capabilities, so that's pretty good. But most of the V4s and the new adapter, I believe, will do 500 amps. Honda is trying to get the adapter from Tesla so that you can gain access as soon as possible to the North American charging standard stations. But I think Tesla's going down the line of, you know, Ford did it first, then GM, then. And since Honda was down the line, they may get the adapters later, is what it sounds like. There's sort of production constraint on adapters to use the Tesla supercharger network. Before we open up the hood and we go through everything else, the range, I mentioned 296 mile EPA rated range. That's in the 2 cycle. I'm not sure what the car would have done in the 5 cycle. I would have thought maybe they were close enough they could have eked out 300
from a marketing perspective, that would have been great. Their target was 300 miles. The EPA test got a little bit more difficult for 2024, and so I think they came in at 296. I'm not sure if they were planning on the new changes or not, but that's what we have here. The battery pack, again, has an 80% daily charging recommendation. If you need to go to 100, you can. Honda had this one charged to 90% along with all of the other Prologues on this first drive media event. I'm going to open up the front trunk for you. It's a double pull, so I'm going to pull the tab twice. And by front trunk, I mean front no trunk. What's up with that, Alyssa? There's so much space for something here. If they just packaged it a little bit different, they could have had some room.
Yeah.
This just looks like a mess. And it's like 12 volt AGM, old school fuses and stuff in here. Just wires and lines going everywhere. I mean, this is all General Motors, but what's your impression of this as a general user? You have a front trunk in your Audi. I've never seen you use it.
Right. No, doesn't bother me a bit.
Okay.
I mean, I've never really understood the obsession with front trunks. Sure, they can be useful for more storage here or there, but when it comes to things like this, I mean, this is, I don't know what you would maybe fit in here with this amount of room.
I could put a charging cable here.
Yeah, maybe, but it's just put it in your car like you did when you had a gas car. I mean, that's my...
I didn't have a charging cable for my gas car.
Right, but if you needed storage for something, there was never the mentality or need to have any type of storage space up there. So I don't get the true obsession.
Hey, you haven't driven a Porsche 911. They have front trunks.
Okay. Well,
okay, not to argue about this
I think
topic.
you're pro front trunks.
I think
it doesn't bother me.
What I am pro of, I'm not pro front trunks. I'm pro efficient packaging. And this just seems like inefficient packaging to me. There's so much open space. And again, this is part of that shared platform. I feel like if Honda did an electric car from the ground up, which they did, the Honda E, it was awesome. One of my favorite cars I've ever driven. And they have like fish tanks for screens. It was quirky. It was cool. It was happy. This just feels very serious GM. And then you put a Honda badge on it, which is actually what it is. Enough under here. You're never going to have to open that as a user. But I do hear some nerd stuff, actually. 12 volt batteries may be an issue on these. They have been on GM. I was talking to one of the engineers about it. He said that they will not wake up the high voltage DC to DC, which is what charges the 12 volt battery, if you park the car for a long period of time. So he actually told me if you're going to plan on not using it for a long time, keep a pigtail adapter. Look at this guy ripping his truck and trailer down here. I feel like we're in the most dangerous place. Yeah. I'm ready to run. Oh boy. I feel like we should move. But he did say that the 12 volt batteries, if you park them for a long time, if you just use it normally, it won't ever be an issue. But sounds like that's something to be on the lookout for. I have heard of 12 volt issues and GM stuff having problems. I rented a Silverado EV yesterday from Hertz. I got in one. It showed all the faults, all the warnings, and I'm guessing it was because the 12 volt got low and triggered a whole bunch of stuff. So just something to keep in mind. If you get a bunch of random warnings and issues on your Prologue, charge up the 12 volt or put a booster on it or do something, and then it should be totally fine. It's just an AGM normal car battery pack. Down the side, by the way, styling wise, I think this is a great looking vehicle. It's simple, it's clean, the build quality, of course these are gone through prepped cars, but everything looks awesome on this. Here comes another Prologue going by. I actually like that color a little bit more. They're ripping it too. That was awesome. And yeah, Alyssa, your impression of the styling?
Yeah, I think the styling, it's very simplistic. It's very normal. It's not standout. It's not ostentatious. So I'm a fan of it. I don't think it looks gorgeous or anything like that. It's not an eye catcher, but it's just normal.
I think this will go down in history as one of those very weird cars, which is like, oh, remember when Honda and Acura did that GM partnership and got the ZDX and the Prologue, those weird GM cars with Honda badges on them? My prediction of how this is all going to play out. Backseat review time. By the way, normal door handles. Love that. Don't like the stupid push in, all the other stuff. You just grab it and go. Now, I'm sure this isn't great for aero, but the door is heavy. It has a great thunk. Everything feels really premium. There's a button front and rear for comfort access. There's also a key card that comes with the Honda, and it looks just honestly like the Tesla key card. And all you do is you tap it to the door handle. Only on the driver's side, I'm learning. And this can lock it, so you can at least do that. There's also a physical key, which is literally the same key we have in our Silverado EV I'm driving, and it's just got a Honda badge stuck on the back, maybe even over the GM badge. Can I pull that off? I don't know. Anyway, should we...
No.
Let's lock it.
Yeah.
Okay, door mirrors fold. I'm going to remote start it. Contactors have clicked. Have they? I don't know, but you can precondition it and you can set the temperature you want the car to precondition to when you do this in here. Oh, and I hear the AC compressor spinning up. So let's unlock it. Let's do a back seat review. Now the seat was set to Alyssa's ride height. I've put the seat back in the full recline position, which I would say is actually pretty comfortable. Headroom, not great.
No.
Not great. I mean, I'm just feeling my head brush. I can fit, if I kind of slouch a little bit, it'd be totally fine. But as soon as I try and like lift up a little bit, I'm in the roof. That's a surprise. A surprise and not a delight.
Let me get on the other side.
Yeah, sure. Let me open the door for you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you guys can get a better idea of he's literally, your head's is in the ceiling.
And maybe it's different if you don't get the glass roof. They did not bring any base or standard cars for us to test out, unfortunately. I think that's also a shame.
But I feel like the legroom's really good.
Oh, great leg room back here, because this
yeah.
is my seating position. And look how much room there is. I mean, it's a ton. Really, really good. Seat materials are nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Nice. Good ISOFIX points for the tots.
Big freaking headrest, BFH.
Oh, yeah.
Big freaking headrest.
And then, I thought that was a screen for a second because my glasses were on, but no, it's just a...
2 USB-C ports. Every USB-C port's 45 watts, by the way. And yeah, vehicle to load, a little 120 volt NEMA 515 or 520, 515 outlet there. That's nice. Really good to have shore power in the vehicle, I should say. Seat back pockets feel nice. The view out the front is nice. Like if I could just, well, maybe you could just sit in here because you're all connected, Alyssa, and just show the viewers how nice this dashboard view is. That is a clean, gorgeous looking interior. I personally prefer this light color interior, which is why I selected this vehicle to show everyone, because I think it's airy, it's pleasant, it's nice. The only time you get to see state of charge is when you turn the car off. Then it shows you state of charge. While you're driving, it won't show you state of charge. It just shows you distance to empty.
Maybe there's a way.
No, I think it's like Lyric.
Oh, okay.
I think you either have to ask the voice assistant Google or you have to shut the car off and then it tells you.
Oh, okay.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Nice air vents, by the way. Massively strong air conditioning in this car.
Yeah, so maybe even like my usual complaints of air vents not being here, but if you have some power in your vents, I don't care where it's coming from, as long as it's happening.
Yeah. Wow, people are ripping around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the air conditioning, very typical GM, just extremely solid air conditioning, which is important to me. Heating and air conditioning. I like a cold car. This is great. Moving to the front. So I think where Honda is kind of nailing it is in the packaging of this vehicle. In the price, it's in the styling, it's in the interior space that they offer. It's the most standard range on any electric SUV, 296 miles on the base car for 40 grand after tax credit, or 48 grand before tax credit. That's pretty damn good, Alyssa. What?
Well, other things work.
Anyway, if you hand this to someone, it should work. You tap it on the thing here, and then you have 2 minutes to start the vehicle.
Oh, okay.
There's no
so
like
it starts
interior
it.
place to do it.
Oh,
And then what you really, a normal person would just be like, here's my key.
right, yeah.
So, okay.
Especially a Honda owner. You're
Especially
used to
a
the
Honda
keys.
owner. I'm going to take you on a software tour in a moment, but just to show you the door cards, everything, again, nothing is Honda here. This is all General Motors. What does this little button do here? That's your trunk. Oh, nice. Cool. So you have a trunk button in here. Great.
Yeah, just very normal, simplistic.
Yeah, it's very
Car
not
design.
Honda though, is it?
Yeah, no, but it is Honda in the way of simplicity and just usability. It's just car.
Okay, so I think before we get in and we go through the software thing, I want to discuss this platform, this Ultium situation. Blazer EV, at the time of this recording, is under stop sale. I'm sure by the time we can post this video, they will have been selling them. I hope, because they really need to get their you-know-what together. This is a shared platform between the Blazer EV and the, what is this thing? Prologue. The Lyric and the ZDX share a platform. So we're one down. Again, the Mexico built one here. The other ones are built in Kentucky, I think. Software has been the biggest issue of Ultium to date. They had, vehicles that couldn't interoperate with certain charging stations. My friend Kevin Williams, who got stranded in that Blazer EV story, we saw him today. And so it's interesting to hear his take on all of this. But the software track of this vehicle is on a completely different track than the Blazer. So the base software package was provided by both cars from GM, is my understanding. And then the Honda guys, you know, purchased all the stuff, had their own requirements from GM and said, thank you very much. There's now a committee between Honda and GM, and Blazer may get certain updates, Honda may get certain updates, the cadence of the updates may change, but this vehicle is fully over-the-air updatable to every module that counts. That's good, and I think it could lead to future improvements here. Now, whether or not they'll do that, I'm not sure. They're definitely not going to take the Tesla or Rivian approach where every 2 weeks, 4 weeks, your car gets better, you have fun games, interesting things, but maybe they'll unlock usable capacity or adjust the charging curve. My understanding right now is that the charging curve is very stepped, very prototypey, where when you get up, you know, it holds full power and then you walk down these ledges. A better charging curve should have a nice smooth curve, just keeping the cells right at maximum voltage as long as the thermal systems can handle it. And my understanding is they're working on that, and that could come as an over-the-air software update. Nothing is promised, but it is nice to know the Honda guys are thinking about the stuff that matters to us. Now, Honda's market position for this vehicle is most people that are going to be buying it, they keep telling us they're poaching existing Honda owners. They're saying no one's going to cross-shop a Blazer and a Honda Prologue. They're going to be Honda owners that drive their Honda combustion cars to their hybrid cars to their electric cars. I don't personally, I'm sure there's someone that's going to follow that track, but I don't really buy it. I think there's going to be a lot of EV owners that are going to be interested in this, that will become first-time Honda buyers because of the value this vehicle provides. And okay, so that's one topic, software, market position. What are they going to do about building these? Honda wants to build 40,000 in the first year. Everyone at Honda I've spoken to has been like overly confident about the situation. Like, oh, absolutely, we can get 40,000. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on this situation. The Honda team feels like they've been assured. They feel confident. They think GM's a great partner here. I'm not sure if they're just saying that because they have to or they really feel it. I kind of know some of the people, and it seems like they're pretty damn confident in this stuff. So I'm cautiously optimistic that this is actually going to work. And if it does work, I think this is going to be one hell of an SUV to keep your eye on. I think it's something we haven't spoken about much, and being here today has really opened my eyes up to the package. The size is right, the styling is right, the charging is acceptable, assuming they can work on that curve a little bit. The thermal management seems good. You'll see that later on in the video, just ripping here. I was wide open everywhere, ripping the car. No major issues. Yeah, I did get it to derate, but it seemed reasonable. It has battery preconditioning, on-route battery preconditioning, ISO 15118 plug-in charge coming. It already works with Mac ID for EVgo Auto Charge Plus. And what else is there to say? Oh yeah, there's a manual preconditioning button as well as on-route. The on-route route planning, we should try it in the car. I don't think is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be very similar to like Hummer, Lyriq, Blazer, where it kind of gets you to chargers at like 25 or 30%, but I really want to get to a charger at 5% state of charge, because what the engineers are telling me is the curve isn't great on the charging, which I think is really nice of them, to be honest, to be like, Kyle, we watch your videos, we know what you're looking for. You're looking for Taycan levels of curve. That's not this. This is an around town car, commuting car that you can take on a trip from time to time, is what they're telling me. And I think that there is a niche for that. There is a need for this. It can work. It's livable. Sounds like it's better than our VinFast in terms of charging performance. But yeah, why don't we actually try that route planning, Alyssa? Yeah. On your way inside, I just want to mention Honda's making a big deal of the 3-tier charging programs they're offering when you buy one of these. I think this confuses buyers. So there's 3 programs and 3 offerings. It's like a spreadsheet, and you can choose one of the 3 tiers. And keep in mind, if they're really trying to come after existing Honda owners to go electric, let's try to not complicate or confuse the EV thing. And they're saying, do you want a home wall box? I think they use one of the NLX boxes. Do you want a home mobile EVSE, the one that's included with the car, 32 amp unit rather than 48 amp? Or do you want no home charger with more public charging credits? So on each tier, you get 60 kilowatt hours of Electrify America charging, which isn't even enough to fully charge once. I think that's unnecessary, confusing. People are going to be figuring out how to activate this. This is a waste of time, waste of space. Don't even give 60, at least give me one full charge. Give me 100 kilowatt hours at EA. I'm not here. I think all the free charging stuff is dumb, but if you're going to do it, at least make it somewhat useful. So I think that's dumb. Then there's 3 different amounts of money for EVgo credit, up I think from $150 to $750. That would be my recommendation. Get the most amount of EVgo credit you can. And then, you know, you choose your home charging tier. I don't know. This is confusing. How will a dealer who's never sold a battery electric vehicle before understand how to communicate these things to the end user? One thing I've learned along the years of covering electric cars very closely is there's a high turnover rate of salespeople. Generally, dealers do not like electric vehicles. They're complicated. They're hard to explain. They don't want to learn them. They're resistant to change. And I think it's going to be a tough it's going to be a holdup in the sales process that Honda should have streamlined and said, you know what, it's our first mass market. They did have a Fit EV, but it's our first mass market battery electric vehicle in the US. And we're just going to give you everything. First model year, you know, you get the $750 credit and you get the home charger credit. Here you go. Let's just make this easy. That would have been my preference. Okay, let's try the route planning. By the way, while you're on your way in, I'm just checking the VIN on this one. It is not an EX VIN, although this is a prototype one. This is VIN number 41.
Wow.
Yeah, early one off the line. Okay, so you hop inside. I'm just going to hit the trunk close button back here. A very important test of an electric vehicle is how quickly can you basically walk up to it, start it, and move. You ready for it, Alyssa?
I'm ready.
Okay, start button, drive, moving. Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good. That is awesome. And there is a setting that you do have to be buckled in order to drive, but we are not on that setting. We turn that off so we can do that little test. So that passes the test really well. That's awesome. Okay, route planning. Here we go. We're in California. We want to go to Fort Collins. Fast, responsive. Okay, 1,193 miles. Trip to the grocery store for us. 10 charging stops. Well, it seems like we have some good stretches. That seems reasonable. 6 hours, 22 minutes charging, though. That seems unreasonable. But you can see, I think the issue is it's trying to get us to the chargers at 25, 23%. Oh, here's a good one, 13%. Nice, but there's no way to adjust what percentage I want to get there with. Now, I want to get there low. So anyway, that's fast route planning, and it will do on-route battery preconditioning on the way, which is great. Why won't it let me cancel?
It's just going to be the theme of here.
Okay, I have some issues with this recognizing my fingers, I think. Anyway, before we drive the car, what do you say we go back in time? We'll take everyone on a full software deep dive. Then we're going to drive it on the highway. We're going to rip it in the canyons because that's what we do, even though it's not consumer buying. That's the route Honda chose. So we're going to go to the maximum capabilities of the car and safety allow. And then we are going to end the video after some low speed stuff at the end.
Yep.
Cool. Well, now y'all join me back in time where we're going to get into the Prologue and drive it for the first time. There's a whole line of them. I picked this one mostly because it had the light interior. Thought it looked pretty cool. Color, nice as well. Yeah, lots of great little specs here, but they only have the elite ones for us to drive. So we're trying out sort of the top spec. Let's go inside, set up all the software and settings. Of course, I've already taken you on a full tour, but let's set up all the software settings for the drive and then we will hit the road. Well, you joined me. I'm actually, again, back in time, but this is my first time sitting in the Prologue, and I'm struck with how much of it just feels General Motors. Oh, I was thinking maybe there was a plastic thing that Alyssa could peel on that one, but no. Steering wheel straight from GM. This is so funny. Even the key, I don't know, Alyssa, do you have the key? Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, you guys got to see this. I probably already showed you, but I just love how the Honda badge was just stuck on the back. It's literally the same key as our Silverado EV that I drove over here. Anyway, to get everything set up for the drive, let's just do a quick software tour. So the home screen, I'm guessing, is this one. So you have all of your settings and options and everything that can be adjusted here. So also have cooled seats in this one. Nice. So vehicle status is where we get trip information on GM stuff. So let's reset all of the trips before we leave. Great, we'll leave. Okay, so that's all that's there. Then we have energy info, energy usage. Okay, nice. Climate and fast charge prep, energy efficiency, okay. And then trips, we were already in there. Tire pressures are, I guess, good. Let me check the door card. So tire pressures recommendations 38 front and rear. And so I guess this side was probably sitting in the sun before, which is why that's a little bit brighter. Okay, so that's all good. Nice. So what else do we have? Google Assistant, don't really care. Charging, this is important. You can set your charge limit from, oh, must be at least 50%. Why does it let you then drag down here? Seems like bad software, doesn't it, Alyssa?
Maybe things to come.
Yeah, okay. So that's a little bit weird. But so you can go from 50 to, can you go 5% increments up to 100? And then it is predicting a 275 mile range. Honda is charging all of the cars to 90% for this drive, and that's what we are at right now, is 90% state of charge. You can also set some time limits and precondition the cabin to whatever you would like, but since they're here charging for this event, we'll just keep all of that off. There are some settings as well where we can do some fast charging, so we can precondition the battery here. I can hit start. Same noises as the GM stuff, same thing our Silverado EV did on the way over here. Really interesting. And it says, just like an athlete, your battery needs to warm up to perform its best. Same nomenclature. It's amazing how much they reused here from General Motors. Preconditioning temperature, this is like for the key. When you precondition it, you can set the cabin temperature, all of that stuff. This is all familiar. Honda, by the way, said we're not allowed to go fast charge this car. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, what? We have this 2.5 hour drive route that I don't want to do. And they're like, nope, you're not allowed to go fast charger, because they claimed they checked the EA station. Honda said this, that only 1 of 4 was working. And the EVgo station was 17 miles off route or something like that. If we go buy a fast charger, I'm plugging this damn thing in. Yeah, of course. But I don't know what we'll see on the route, but I just think that's annoying. But anyway, okay, so they don't want us to charge it. We'll talk about the charging performance maybe in the walk around. I've already mentioned it. But I would have loved to bring it to a charger, but I also don't want to, it's their car. I'm not going to do what they say we can't do, but I do need you guys to be aware that they said don't charge it, which also makes me a little bit, brings up question marks because GM and charging hasn't been great. So I don't know what they're trying to avoid there, but I have to be honest with you guys. And so, yeah, as soon as we can get one in Colorado, maybe the local Honda dealer will loan us one. Maybe they'll eventually reach the media fleets. We can do all the charging stuff then. Inside the climate menu, okay, we can sync left and right. Much prefer that. I'm happy when the temperatures match.
Only happy when the temperatures match.
That's true. And yeah, things are looking good here. We also have hotkeys for our one pedal driving that we can toggle, right through here, and we'll set all that up in a second. Okay, climate, we have cameras around the vehicle as well. So those are front and rear. One moment, as we just have to have a quick conversation.
Here?
Yeah, we are. Awesome.
All right, have fun, okay?
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so we are taking car number 12, but we can direct a movie. We have front and rear cameras, front overhead, rear overhead, side view, the camera quality. Oh my God.
Holy potato.
What is this? My freaking iPhone.
The 360 is actually decent.
Yeah, 360 is not bad. How do you make that bigger? Oh, you can choose 360 on or off, I guess. I don't know what's up with that. Okay, and then we'll go into settings in a moment. There's ambient lighting. Nice, nice. Come on. Oh, it's matching the exterior color. Or you can link it to drive mode. Okay, so we should play around with that. That's interesting. There's Wi-Fi hotspot, audio, anything built in of interest, Sirius XM, and no Spotify built in. That's always my go-to, but of course you can Bluetooth or USB stream in here. So looking good. Let's just, the touchscreen is not very responsive. Oh my God, you have to really push. Yeah, you have to really start pushing on this thing, then it works pretty well. Okay, so I say let's go through settings first, then controls. So we have connections, is like how to hook up your phone. Of course, it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can hook the vehicle up to Wi-Fi if you need to. Wow, audio, rear seat reminder. Yeah, this is like a GM thing. You can like set certain parameters to a key.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, buckle to drive, which means you probably have to be buckled in order to go into drive. Collision detection systems, automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise go. That's nice when the car in front of you goes. park assist, all this stuff. We'll just turn alert and brake on because we don't want to damage anyone's car if I'm not paying attention. All of this is literally straight from, you know, the Silverado EV or any Ultium product that I've driven so far. So display sounds we got to do. Audible touch feedback. No, thank you. Nah, so much nicer now. Display, let's see if there's one. Instrument cluster, speed sign, turn-by-turn graphics. Why wouldn't we want that? Mode, yeah. So what does night mode look like? Huh. What does day mode look like? Huh. Okay, so I think the Silverado actually changed when I tried that.
Yeah, but it just...
Yeah, the screen dimming in that was awesome. Updates in history. So we are on 856752242.mnf. Important update, Vestcom, January 17th, 2024. That's what's installed. Check for updates. Last time it checked for updates was 1/23/2024. It's now...
Or 30th?
Yeah, well, this video won't go up for a while, but we're filming at the end of January. Seems like it's taking a long time. Maybe the cell service isn't great around here. Preferences, download updates in the background and via Wi-Fi when available. Sure, why not save their cell networks some stuff. Anyway, all those settings look pretty familiar to me. Oh yeah, there's also Honda Link plus OnStar. All of the vehicle's connections up here are done through OnStar. They're the ones providing the data link, which also means I believe this vehicle will become unconnected in 8 years when 4G is phased out, which is also nice because that's why you have manual battery preconditioning, because I think the maps just won't work. Obviously, you can use CarPlay and all that stuff at that point, I think. But once the vehicle loses connectivity, it sounds like no go. And that's not just for this car. That's a lot of 4G connected vehicles now. But maybe there'll be a 5G swap somehow. I'm not totally sure. Let's go into controls now, because this is what we want to do a lot of driving for. I'm really having issues interfacing with this screen. We have head-up display. Yeah, head-up display on. Great. Brightness, maximum. Just going to drop it a little bit. Okay, there we go. Nice, looking good.
You just be patient.
Oh, wow, that was nice. What did you do? Oh, maybe you just got to be really slow with it. We've already been through the cameras. Traction control, off. If we push and hold, will it let me turn stability control off? Let's see. No. Yeah. Hold on. Maybe push and hold now. Nope. Not the working. Maybe there's a way. I don't think the target... Oh, you can move it around. You can reconfigure it. Traction control hotkey. Auto high beams. Front fogs. Absolutely. And then we have more controls. Doors and windows. Great. Power rear gate height. I guess they have it at custom for whatever they need it for, which is fine. Fog lights, auto high beams, headlights on auto. There's a hotkey up here, of course. Traction control. Oh, here we go. This is where we can go ESC and traction control off. Now it says literally StabiliTrak off, which is so funny. Look, I'll just show you really quick. If you zoom in here, traction control off. Wait, it literally just said StabiliTrak off the first time I did it. Was it a bug? Traction control off. No way. Did you get it when it said StabiliTrak?
I think it's probably in the corner there.
Yeah, now it's saying traction control off, but it definitely pulled a GM and said StabiliTrak off, which is amazing. There's also one pedal driving, which does brake blending. I think we'll just keep it on high for now, and it's very strong in the Silverado. We'll see how this does. So lots of settings, and then you have universal remotes for your garage, I guess. I think that's everything we need. In terms of drive modes, also just on the left, I have, again, another GM switchgear with a manual. I can show the viewers over here. A manual parking brake release, the sport mode, which does not indicate sport mode on the display anywhere. Oh yeah, this little icon right there is the only thing that indicates we're going in and out of sport mode. I also have the lane departure, auto hold on and off. I'm not seeing that popping up anywhere either. Okay. And then we have our display brightnesses. Everything else, hopefully they would have seen in the tour, like the roof and everything. So you ready to rip?
Let's rip.
All right, guys, well, we're going to drive it now for the first time. So the shifter is the same as all the other GM stuff. I pull it out of the park position to get neutral, and then I go down for drive or up for reverse.
We have wiper controls here on the left stalk. Everything else is looking good. Heated steering wheel. I'll kick it on just for a moment to see how it feels. Now I'm in drive. I am gonna take it out of sport mode, and I have one pedal driving on high, so I can feel it right there blend on the brakes. Here's the motor kicking in as I hit the pedal. And we are in, of course, the all-wheel drive model. So feeling very natural from my side. And just gonna cruise through this little sea of Honda people and take a look ahead. You can see, I think that's probably Sophion from Redline Reviews in front of us. Awesome channel if you guys are looking for very comprehensive car reviews, of course. It's been fun hanging out with everyone today. And we are off. I gotta get my seating position kind of dialed in. I don't really sit that low in this car. And while we're heading out, I just want to try quite a bit of regen. We got 22 kilowatt regen right there.
Wow.
I like how it shows you the kilowatt power display, very similar to the GM stuff. And I can change the gauge view. So here's like Apple Maps built in. Well, sorry for turning the steering wheel. You have a driver assistance view, which is now gone. What else do we have? We have the one that we were on. So like really nice gauges. And I really like how when you have CarPlay connected, if you use the built-in Apple Maps, it uses the Apple display here and then gives you this overlay of, you know, your power output. And I really like how they give you, what's interesting is you would think they're like nerdy. They give you the how many kilowatts of power you're using in real time, which is like, who cares, but it's there. But then they don't give you a state of charge in percent. The only way you can see your state of charge, oh, you can't even see it while you're driving because charging controls are unavailable while driving. Maybe, no, this is, your vehicle will charge to this.
Yeah.
So maybe there's no way to see state of charge in percentage, which is the only way I think. That's silly.
Settings?
No, yeah, I think the Lyriq is the same way actually. Yeah, I haven't really driven the Blazer, so I'm not sure if that's like that, but it's just like, what the heck? So now let's pull up CarPlay. Yeah, don't know. That's annoying how it won't show you state of charge and percentage. So before we get out on the road, let's just kick this roof open. Very nice. I have to say at low speed pedal tuning's great. Pedal feels, honestly, it feels very similar to the Silverado EV I was just driving, which is an interesting comparison because the steering feels so slow, but it does feel lighter than the other models I've driven. Honda said they're using, again, pretty much the same steering rack as Blazer, but with a different power steering tuning setting. So they just apply a little bit more boost. So it has very light steering. And I'm sure when I put it in sport mode later on, it'll make a difference. But Alyssa, I'm trying to get to your Honda love story. Why do you love Honda so much? You're here because you're a resident Honda enthusiast on the team. And now they finally have an electric car. You've driven Hondas your whole life. What is now? Of course, you drive an e-tron, but
right. I mean, it wasn't by choice, by any means, but I've always loved my Honda. I've always had a good experience with my Honda. It's like my little cockroach. It would never die. It made more money for me than it was ever worth. So it was a great relationship.
People kept crashing into
yeah,
you.
People kept crashing into me. So it always would get totaled or whatever, and I would make a lot of money off of it. So I had a good relationship with that car, and yeah, you made me leave it. So
right for the i3.
Yeah. So it's now Gloria's living with some younger kid. Oh, at the time.
Yeah, who knows if it's still alive.
Yeah, I remember he wanted to buy it for a little bit more than what I was asking for some reason, and I was like, no, like it's just not worth that much.
Right,
I think
cheap.
I knocked down the price for him, and he was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, that's a red flag for you, but go for it. Yeah.
So back to this, initial impressions are, this thing is a cruiser. It's big, it's wide. I got a lot of room. If you take a look out the front, Alyssa, there's just so much space up here. So it really has this quite large, expansive feeling to it, which almost feels a little bit like a waste of space. Not a waste of space, but yeah, maybe a waste of space. I don't know. There's also a regen paddle I'm noticing. When we get on lower state of charge, we'll try to, try out how much regen we can get because we get the kilowatt display. But wow, the steering, Alyssa, is so slow. It doesn't do anything. Watch, I'm just going to turn on the highway.
Okay.
The tires have not much grip, but the steering is very slow.
Should we try a quick acceleration?
Yeah.
Let me click on sport mode.
Whoa.
Okay, I haven't even hit the throttle yet.
That's
All
so
right,
fast.
ready? 38 mile an hour roll, industry standard. Really not bad.
No.
Not bad. You don't need any more. That's 75, 80, 85, 90, allegedly more than 90. And then we're slowing down. Make some cool noises.
Yeah, lots of noises. This is like a little space shuttle in here.
So sport mode just makes it louder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, here,
Okay.
I'll slow down again. It's actually not that fast above 60, but I'm going to toggle sport mode. So I'm going to go wide open, 50 miles an hour forward. Sport mode on. Off.
Oh, I hear it.
Yeah,
It
just
goes
turning it
boop,
on and
boop,
off.
boop.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't increase any power, so it's output all the way there. Yeah, so yeah, it seems big. The steering is very, very slow rack, which is very typical GM for this Ultium stuff. I can't figure out why it's not a quicker rack, but actually, is the steering wheel even straight?
Yes.
Yeah, to me it seems a little bit angled to the right. Okay, so since we're on the highway and we're just cruising, let's do some driver assistance, yeah? So, set 70 miles an hour. Great. And will it do lane centering? No. Oh, maybe. Maybe it's just doing it because of the lines. So there's no, oh no, it's definitely not lane centering. Watch, I'm going to hit this one. It says take steering. Take steering and do what? What happens if I don't take steering? It just went away. Okay. I thought they told me this thing had lane centering. Did they not?
Oh, I don't remember that conversation. I don't know if you
So
really
the
asked.
Acura ZDX has basically the same thing as Super Cruise with their own name. But you know, keep in mind this car that we're driving is still under $60,000 in this spec, and it's quiet and it rides nice. It's not super smooth. It's definitely got some agile sense to the chassis. You know, I can feel smaller bumps and imperfections in the road that, you know, I would imagine they had to do. So Honda probably always, my impression, always tunes a little bit of performance edge into their cars. But yeah, even over these bumps, yeah, maybe quite a bit of NVH, but the wind noise is dialed, and I have no major issues with this. I need to figure out the lane centering thing. So there is a driver assistance. Yeah, we're on it. There's no way this is, I heard another journalist tell me that it was very ping-pongy, but I'm like, nah, it's gotta stay. Look, it's not even turning at all. Then we hit that line, it's gone orange, and it's just pushing us. Anyway, we'll play around with this. But hardcore stuff, Alyssa. Nice. Seats are good.
Yeah.
Seats are really good. They're
Yeah,
a little
no,
bit firm,
it's
but supportive.
Extremely comfortable car. It's just a very practical car, and I think from like my viewpoint, that's what Honda's always been for me, is just very easy to get in and get out, and comfortable and usable.
And my viewpoint is, I feel like I'm driving a General Motors product with a Honda badge.
Well, right, yeah,
And
that
maybe,
too.
here's the thing. We drive everything at Out of Spec,
Yeah.
right? So we're in Blazers, we're in Lyrics, we're in all these things, and then we get in this car, and we're like, oh, it's so funny, it's all GM. But if you're a Honda buyer coming into this vehicle, how much of that actually affects you? Because, you know, it's not, it does not do lane centering, at least however I have it set up, for sure. But how much does it affect you? Because you're evaluating your Honda. The question becomes, if you're a Honda family, you're going to want similarities between CR-V, between, you know, HR-V and this. It should be in the all same family of products. And since this seems to be the only GM collaboration with Honda, at least in the near term, and we've heard rumors of them canceling the future collaborations, well, this might be one of those weird one-offs that happens this way. And is that a good thing, or is that a confusing thing to a Honda buyer stepping in? And is that a confusing thing for someone cross-shopping the car? I don't know. These are the questions I have, and I'm a little bit weary of this whole Honda GM partnership, so we'll definitely be talking about that. But in terms of the car itself, it doesn't feel like a Honda to me. It's a very, you know, long car,
big car, a lot of big dashboard, plastic stuff everywhere. The buttons are quite nice. The switch gear is really nice. I like all this. Steering wheel's a GM wheel, feels good, high quality leather, stitched leather. It's probably the same wheel as a Lyriq, honestly, without some of the like chrome or piano black buttons and dials. I'm trying to remember what that car was even like, but the rim itself feels very nice. The seat is no issues with the seat other than I just can't get low enough.
It's manual or is it electric?
It's electric, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure the base car has manual seats, I would guess. I don't know. Yeah, so on the highway, first initial impressions of the Prologue, it does not drive anything like I expected. I really thought Honda was going to go and take this thing and make it a Honda. And Hondas always drive pretty well. I'm a general Honda enthusiast and fan. They build some of the best performance cars. And then like this doesn't fit into the DNA. There was another Prologue going that way. That was cool. So let's get to know it a little bit more. Let's drain the battery. Let's play around with the regen, with the one pedal tuning at low speed, all the stuff we typically do. And then we'll end the video when we're done driving it with our final thoughts. But my very first impressions are nothing like I expected. This is a Honda that would just love to sit at 70, 80 miles an hour down the highway all day. Let's bump it up to 80 and just see how she feels cruising at a little bit higher speed. So when you hit the turn signal, it accelerates before you clear the vehicle path in front of you. That's very nice. I would say acceptable noise performance. Alyssa, your commentary.
I think I like it for the price point. It's a great price point. I think you get everything that you might need in the car. I think the lane centering thing definitely needs to be there to help with long distance drivers, because you know,
watch,
other
when I
people
don't touch the wheel, let's just see what happens. It's going to hit this yellow line. Okay, it's pushing it in. I'm not going to touch the steering wheel. It's now pushing us this way. We've hit that line. We're coming up to a corner. We've hit the line again. And we're off the road.
Goodness.
How can you launch a car in 2024 without lane centering?
Yeah, that's a big question mark. But other than that, I mean, I like it. I think it's really comfortable.
Sure.
Definitely just want to feel around, and
plastic.
Yeah, it doesn't feel premium. It just feels
But
Honda.
It's a Honda. It's simple.
Yeah.
I like that. It's
that's what I like. It's
simplistic.
That's a good word for it. It's very simple and utilitarian and just practical, and so those are the words to really describe it. And honestly, it looks good. It looks nice.
I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed with this car if they have a pretty good lease. It's already priced pretty well, which is nice. So there's 100 kilowatt regen, 113 kilowatt regen at, I don't know what state of charge, 225 miles of range. But that's, I think, a guessometer, so you can't go off of that consistently. Anyway, let's cruise. We'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. Let's see. We're on a twisty road. I just kind of want to feel the chassis tuning a little bit without the... I got to say, the electronic stability programs are tuned really well. Brake pedal's amazing in this car. Feels... There we go. StabiliTrak off. There, it said it. StabiliTrak off. Nice. Okay. So, full throttle out of here. Okay, it definitely feels much more front biased. Again, it is a primary axle on the front. The rear is sort of just a helper motor, especially for low traction situations. I am just mad at. Now, the thing is, this is not meant to be a performance SUV, but Hondas have always maintained this sort of sporting character. And on the highway on the way up here, as an example, I really was leaning it through the corners, and the whole car felt very floaty over the corners. Almost a little bit of a hint of the Lyriq that I drove. Now, keep in mind, the Lyriq is built on a different chassis than this car, and I haven't, you can only turn ESC off at low speed, apparently. So then you got to leave traction control on, but that's okay. Let's just go back here so I know where the heck I'm going. Let's do a braking test from 60 miles an hour. Ready, Alyssa? Mm-hmm. 3, 2, 1. Great brake pedal. Can feel the ABS coming through. Comes up, says ABS active, and we're good to go. And we're in auto hold. It actually flashes traction control when ABS kicks on. Came to a stop, nicely controlled, straight. You can feel the weight. I don't know what the weight is, but it's got to be mid fives, I would think. Maybe just under Blazer. That is what my guess would be. I don't know. So left foot hard on the brake, flooring it with the right. We're torqued over. Leaning in, full power at 30 miles an hour. Just over 225 kilowatts is what I've seen so far during this drive, and we're back up to 60. You know, in terms of the acceleration and braking, it's not quick, it's not sprightly, it's just, I would say, enough power where no one's going to get annoyed. You might use full acceleration, and that's probably, I would say, acceptable for a general driver, especially coming from another Honda. This is going to be way quicker than most Hondas on the road. It's responsive. You put your foot down and boom, you've got the juice and you're good to go. Now on the big, long sweepers, I was really feeling a lot of body movements and oscillations, but I have to say, now that I've gotten it onto a tighter, twistier road, it's actually not bad. It does the thing where it's definitely tuned, you know, to be safe rather than fun, but it's quite competent at doing something like this. Better than I thought. The brake pedal is amazing. First of all, you get a ton of off-throttle regen. Then I can pull the regen paddle on the wheel. Then I can add even more by blending in the brakes and the brake pedal. GM has always done a great brake pedal. So, you know, part of the partnership with Honda, I would imagine, would be you get a lot of that good GM stuff where Honda's sort of electrified brake pedals, I would say, are not this good. So here we are just diving it through the S's. Good body control on that transition. The whole thing just feels like it's honestly way better than I expected in something like this. It's not fun. I'm asking the car to do something it doesn't want to do. Look ahead. You see coming into a sweeper. Let's get the nose tucked in. Go, full power. Come on, unlock, go. And we're just wide open on the hill going up here, but it's kind of actually fun in a sense. And it, you know, that highway impression of that wallowiness does not translate to a road like this. This is quite nice. Coming in under braking. The tire feels nicely sorted now that we got some heat in them. Yeah, this is a good road. Alyssa, your impression?
I mean, it's still fun and
ESP
still
really cut it.
Yeah, it still has the practicality side of things. So, whoa.
Steering is just a bit too slow. Look how much lock I have to put in to get this thing to turn. Oh, what a road! What a road! And I don't think we need to review this car in a sporting sense, but this is interesting. This person pulled over. This is where the hazards are. To say thank you.
And very small.
Very small. So you got to be like, oh, emergency. Where is it? Do I call OnStar SOS? Not sure which is what you want to do in that case. So yeah, here's another prologue here on the side of the road. Let's just go gently by them so we don't spin the earth backwards as we fly by. And we are off. Full send. Yeah. It's other than the steering having no feel, and I think being a little bit actually even heavier than I expected it to be, the chassis is pretty nice. Definitely front wheel bias. But you can huck it. I'm just doing some stupid stuff to feel it. The tuning's nice. Wow, this is kind of shrinks the harder you drive it. I totally get a sense that they really spent a lot of time on an engineering test track at the limit with this vehicle because it feels extremely competent. We are getting some power limit due to thermal, but I was also ripping on it on the highway a little bit. I would say the thermals are not an issue for driving because I've been reasonably aggressive on the car and it's been handling it. A lot of the testing for me also, just so the viewers know, is I'm really curious on this car because I'm also learning about Blazer because they share a platform. So yeah, we have pretty big thermal limit at the moment, only 170 kilowatt power output. But a lot of why I'm driving this car aggressively is because there'll be an RS version of the Blazer. Reduced acceleration, drive with care. We have battery with an exclamation mark on, and so that's just, again, thermal. Could have been a battery rotor. But that's just, you know, we're hitting some thermal limits, which every electric car you can hit thermal limits, and this one's quite high because I don't expect any Prologue drivers to drive this aggressively, if I'm honest. So, not that I would say, I mean, this is how I would drive if I lived on this road. I think you do have spirited Honda drivers, but there it is, reduced acceleration, drive with care again. Shouldn't hurt, it should have its own protections in here. nice corner. Look at this road. ESP kicking in, trying to get the power good. Dang. And it'll just, you know, stay warm until it cools down. But good stuff. I think that's enough of a performance review. I'm getting myself car sick here. Which always happens to me, unfortunately. And I would say chassis performance is great. Braking performance is great. For the intended use case, again, this is not meant to be a hardcore racer. A lot of what I'm learning now is gathering information for when I review the Blazer and understanding the thermal limitations of the Ultium platform and towing with Hummer EV. All of these things are connected, which is also why I wouldn't say driving this out of the norm, but just, you know, making sure I'm going wide open throttle when I can on the straightaways. So yeah, easy car to drive, very safe car, very predictable. Nice work to the Honda engineers for putting a little bit of sporting flair, which I did not think was going to happen based off the highway drive. And it seems to be cooling itself down nicely. The reduced power has already gone away, and we're still making this big hill climb. So thermal management seems good. Seems good. No issues. Now we're on the downhill. So I would say let's pull over here and get a picture of this view. Holy smokes. I think we'll do some photos. Colton's on the Apple CarPlay internal Bluetooth. We're wired in, but the loudspeaker in here. Colton, what's your Honda Prologue phone call review?
I have my volume at 100%, can barely hear you. You sound very muffled and very teeny.
Yeah, and you sound terrible too.
That sounds good.
Yeah, well, I would say that's something's not good here. This is not an instrumented test, but it is not great. Also, people here in California have been ripping. We've been racing this F-150 through the mountains. He's been, full understeer, exiting corners. It's been hilarious.
Amazing. Yep, that's the California way, sir.
Yeah, people haul ass in California. It's awesome. Hello, viewers. We have now arrived back to where we started after a long few hours of driving. It's been fun. A lot of twisty roads. Not much like low speed stuff to discuss, but we were getting like 1.3 miles per kilowatt hour because I was driving the absolute nuts off of this thing. And then I took it still pretty aggressively, and we got 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So the efficiency might actually be pretty good. Let's just talk low speed really quick. I'm going to come into the controls menu. We'll turn traction control back on because we were being idiots. And I'm going to come here and drive and park. And then we have our one pedal driving settings. So if I turn one pedal driving off and I lift off the accelerator pedal, we get some light regen. And then I can hit the brake pedal and it will blend in more regen and bring us to a stop. I can also use the regen paddle if you like the vehicle to coast, and then at any time you can pull the regen paddle and it really locks on the regen. Normal seems okay, pretty reasonable. So let's try that. So still just elongates, or still nice long throttle pedal, lift off all the way. This feels like a reasonable amount of regen, I would say. Very nice. There's a really loud pedestrian warning sound at low and medium speed in this one. Yeah, normal feels pretty good. The one pedal calibration's great. No issues with one pedal tuning. It's really nice. And then high, of course, is how I've been driving it all day. The most amount of regen I was able to get under blended brake. We have a doggo over here. So, oh, yeah, we have a really cute doggo actually. The most amount of regen I was able to get out of this one was 160 kilowatts or so, 157, 158. Backup camera's not great, I would say, but the turning radius is awesome. It's just got a lot of turns lock to lock. Holy smokes. You gotta be really comfortable cranking the wheel on this thing. The steering rack is just way too slow. There's no way around it, to be honest. They really should have put a new rack in for the Honda version, would have been my suggestion. It feels very abnormally, annoyingly slow. So that's it for the low speed stuff. Parking, it's going to be of no problem. You do have a 360-degree camera. Again, I showed you all that stuff, but it's not super high quality. Camera's unavailable because we're probably going too fast. Alyssa, your final thoughts on the driving? There's a few more things I want to end this video with. Competitive pricing, because we've just been looking up Model Y prices and like, holy smokes, that's crazy. I didn't realize they were so cheap. So we really need to take into account the competitive set for this vehicle, at least at the time of the recording. And also I want to talk about wheel tire packages because we haven't gone in depth, just some boring stuff to end the video with. But Alyssa, why don't I grab this and you can share with everyone what you thought about how the Prologue drove.
I just felt it was just very normal within the driving. I will say that the steering input was a lot is needed. It's a little floaty, I would say, as a passenger, but the overall package, it's just very easy, practical, and simple. And I think for a lot of people that are new to getting into EVs, I think this could be a good contender. Still don't really know the charging side of everything.
The curve sounds maybe not great.
Yeah, the curve does not sound too good.
But actually, a lot of cars in this segment don't have a good curve. I just tested Model Y recently, bad curve.
Yeah, so...
VinFast, bad curve.
Well,
that costs the same amount as this car.
Yeah, so within the competition, I think it's pretty steady. It holds its own, and yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't think I would buy it for myself, but yeah.
Great. Well, guys, that's the drive of the new Honda Prologue, and I have to say it's such a weird experience driving this car. Not in a bad way. It is, as a car, really a nice drive. It's sort of a cruiser, but it does have this edge of, okay, they definitely tuned in some feel, some sportiness to the suspension. It's not as soft and wafty as I imagine some of the GM products may be tuned to be, depending on the trim level. Again, steel only, same exact suspension as the Blazer, just with different valving in the dampers, different bushings, things like that, that just give the car a slightly different character than the GM counterpart. Now, that's more of a Honda, trying to put the Honda, chassis engineering stuff on this car, which I can tell that someone spent a lot of time really dialing in this chassis, because it drove honestly so much better than the Cadillac Lyriq that I've driven before. So at least in a performance setting, which that car was sort of a cruiser. So I'm very, very pleased with how it drives. But some negatives as well. The steering is just way too slow. There's no lane centering, which to me is just insane. And yeah, so before we go into the competitive set tires, this one's on Bridgestone Electric. Let's see. What does it say? What are these things? They just say Bridgestone Alenza Enlighten. Okay. And the sizing is 275, 45, 21. Well, that makes sense why it had so much grip up front. 275s up front. Holy smokes. And then in the back, because this thing actually really, 275 square. So that really helped give it this nice balanced character. I do wish that they had gone with a rear bias system. Again, this chassis can support a front primary axle or a rear primary axle. Also, it's 6-lug, which is interesting because that's all Blazer stuff, just for the weight class of the vehicle. And I just think, okay, Honda wanted, they first of all, some of the engineers were like, okay, it's more efficient if it's a front primary axle. Yes, because you can get the most amount of regen on the front, but it's still only 160 kilowatt on the, when you're fully under braking and the battery's low, it can accept a charge. It's not that much regen. And I think it would have been so much more fun and so much more performance-y if they could put the primary axle in the back with then the helper induction motor on the front. Just would have been my preference. The Acura ZDX, the big brother to this car, will be rear primary axle. So that'll be the performance one anyway. So does it matter for this? I'm not sure. But that's when we start coming into the price, which at first glance for me, you get a very large, much more comfortable than Model Y. Honestly, almost feels better built than a lot of the Tesla stuff. It's quiet. It's a nice car. But then you look at the pricing of Tesla Model Y, and I mean, it's crazy. You can buy a Model Y Performance for about $7,000 less than this top spec, Honda Prologue without lane centering, with 150 kilowatt charging versus 250 kilowatt charging. And then you go, oh boy, the price of that is crazy. Now, Alyssa will say there's a lot of people who don't want to drive a Tesla. You're one of those people, Alyssa. So do you think this is a worthy contender?
Yeah, I think it is. I honestly came into this thinking it was going to be a lot chintzier than it actually is. And
yeah,
I was actually very impressed by, I mean, obviously the interior is not as great as most cars, but in the end, I think the overall package, they really nailed it. Just the, yeah, I'm impressed. I'm pleased.
That's really surprising to me. I do agree. It feels much higher quality than I expected it to. It felt much more grown up than I expected it to. It's definitely one of those cars you can just sit on the highway for days and, you know, who knows how the charging performance is, and the route planning seems like it needs a little bit of work, but it seems to tick all of the boxes needed. It's just so mid in terms of the specs. It's like middle size class, middle charging performance. The range seems okay and efficiency seems okay, but then it's like not very fast at all.
Yeah, but I feel like that's pretty on brand with Honda.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
I
don't
feel
think
like,
that's like off, like surprising.
but then
that
why
it
would you
is.
choose this over a, I just don't understand why you'd choose this over Model Y Performance.
I mean, I don't
That's
know what
4 seconds 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds 0 to 60, or something. I don't even
Yeah.
know what it is, but it's crazy fast. And this
Yeah.
is like, another journalist said he counted 8 seconds.
Yeah,
And I think it's rated at 6.5, but it's,
right.
it's,
I mean,
like,
when you
not that
compare
fast.
it to that, to the Model Y, you
that's when I
definitely-
just went like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard comparison, but if, I mean, like you said, if there are people out there that just don't want to drive a Tesla, just don't want anything to do with it, then, I mean, this honestly could be a really good contender, and within the market, it's pretty even with everything else, and
Yeah, it's just, oh. I
It's
thought it was in
nothing
a
special
vacuum.
about it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not, yeah. In a vacuum, it's awesome.
Right.
When we were just reviewing the Honda Prologue, I was like, cool, I like this, I like that. That's GM, I wish they would change this. But then when you look at the competitors, you go, oh boy, there's some amazing cars for reasonable value out there. So then it comes down to, how can Honda sell this thing? First of all, can they even get enough to sell from GM?
Right.
And if they can get enough to sell, how are they going to sell this? And the answer is, it has to have a cheap lease.
right, yeah. I mean, I think they definitely know their market and who they're selling to, and it's not on the market yet, but it sounds like they want to stay within their Honda family, the people who are actually have already
Honda
owned them.
enthusiasts.
Right, yeah. So I think that's their main target. 'Cause I mean, my impression, I don't think they are thinking they're going to do huge volumes. They just wanted to get a decent electric car in the market and then maybe improve it over time. It sounded like there was a lot of improvements that they were going to make.
Right, like bidirectional charging will come in a future model
Right.
year, as an example.
So I think this is just them getting their foot off the ground with an EV for the North American market. And
And then we should
don't
also
think it's
mention
bad.
the base price of this, right, is 48 grand, 47 grand plus destination.
yep,
That's the same price as a Model Y long range.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a front wheel drive, one of these with no options.
right. Yeah.
I hate to be such a downer. You got to be competitive. So
Yeah.
again, Honda, the way that they can compete, and this is why the team keeps bringing up, you know, people lease in this category. I think they're just going to have an insane lease deal on these.
Right, yeah.
Because
think,
it's a
yeah.
good package. If you ignore the price, it's a great package. It's a good looking car, high quality car. I don't like the optimization of the engineering stuff. I really wish it was Honda engineered this
But
and
you
they
got to
didn't
think
go
about the
GM.
people who are buying Hondas, and it was me before I even met you, and
Yeah.
I would love this car
Yeah,
if
sure.
I were jumping into it.
Yeah, if you're
And-
coming out of a CRV and into this is
Right.
going to feel like the coolest freaking car on the planet.
Right, yeah, it definitely, it feels like an upgrade. It feels like you're getting more out of it. It's definitely, it's an electric car. And
There's just
it's-
many ways to look at it.
Yeah, there's different angles and different ways, but I mean, of course, comparing it to Tesla, it's hard for any car maker to even really,
Compete.
yeah,
I'm waiting
I
for
mean-
one to do it.
yeah.
Come on,
Oh,
automakers, step up your game.
I
Get
know
in.
one.
What?
I know one.
Oh,
Guess? The Lotus?
Lotus Electra.
Ah,
So expensive though.
yeah, I know, but it beats it.
But that's the thing. You just got, you show up to this market late to electric. That's my viewpoint. Honda's viewpoint is we took a sensible approach because electric cars are softening. I don't believe that. I believe that's stronger than ever. But nice car, great day with it. Really cool to drive this one. I think it's one of those cars that I hope to see more of. I'm sure people will own them, enjoy them, and really like them. It's so much better than like a Solterra or BZ4X.
Right, I was about to say, if anybody's buying those cars, I think this car
This
will
car's
be
gonna
just-
do-
yeah, just fine with their Honda family of people, and also people who are just in the market for a new EV. I think this will be enticing because this is a brand that's trusted by many. People love Hondas. They're, in my opinion, the cockroaches of the vehicles. They don't
In a nice
die.
way.
Yeah, in a nice way. They're really, really reliable, and that's just the impression
But this
that
is
I
not a
had.
Honda.
Right.
This is a
but
Chevy Blazer
It's backed up
with
by
a
a
Honda
Honda.
badge. What is the warranty? They haven't told us what the warranty is.
No, there's
Yeah.
definitely, oops, sorry about my camera skills there. There's definitely a lot of questions, but of course this is just a first drive. They're not out on the market yet, so there's still a lot of questions to come to see how they're going to present it to the market, what the leasing pricings are going to be, but I think they're going to be extremely competitive from the notes that we've kind of got at this event. So I'm pretty optimistic. I think it'll do decently well.
If this is on the Hertz lot, like and I'm walking out of the airport, I'm totally taking one of these. I love it.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome. It's like comfortable. It's got great sound system. The Bose in this thing rips.
But I think nobody's
I mean,
really going to
great's
know
good.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's cross-shopping this.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's because it's new.
Yeah.
They haven't done much hubbub. This is the first sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just because people don't know about it yet.
I honestly thought we were coming here to review a minivan.
Really?
I had no clue
I didn't really
until
tell you what we were doing.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, a Honda Prologue, that just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like the Honda Odyssey, like I don't know, a minivan predecessor, I don't know. That's what I thought we were. And then when I finally looked up, I'm like, wow, that actually looks pretty good. I don't mind it. And yeah, my opinion stays pretty true. It's not a minivan, but it's pretty well sized. I don't think it's big enough, in my opinion, especially for
It's just mid.
scene. Yeah.
Everything about it is mid.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything terribly. It doesn't do anything great.
I think it's
Except
good.
for the range on the base one's pretty good. 296 miles base.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's a good car to get your kids or to have young kids in. I don't think big kids would want to be in the back seats of those. And
Yeah, this has plenty of backseat room.
no, it doesn't.
This?
Yeah? No, for like somebody who's actually
You mean height?
mature. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
but it's got
yeah.
good leg room.
Yeah.
So you got to slouch a little bit.
Right. So I think it's good for little babies, starter family car.
No, I can fit in the back. Here, I'm going to sit behind myself.
But you're-
I don't know. I'm not picking up what you're putting down over here. I fit fine. My head
fit fine.
hits,
Okay.
but this is behind me. I'm pretty tall, and I can put like look at this. It's like China levels of leg room. I say that because a lot of Chinese vehicles have longer wheelbases or big back seats. Okay, well, we took it from 90 to 23%. We ripped the crap out of it. It took the abuse.
It
The
handled it
chassis
well.
was really nice. There was only one weird thing where I was like, okay, ABS tuning needs a little bit of work, but that was just after we were honestly, the brakes were hot. We were really, the tuning on it's pretty good. After looking at Model Y, I just don't know. It's way bigger than Model Y in the second row. No third row available. Way more space, but
No front trunk.
no
which-
lane centering. That's just like an instant write-off for me.
Yeah, but can that come up with software?
Software? I don't know. You may have to get the ZDX with Super Cruise because it just ping-pongs you between the lanes.
Yeah, that's not.
It's
good
just
at
a
all.
non-starter. You
Yeah.
can't sell a new electric car
I
for
think-
more than a Model
yeah.
Y performance in 2024 without lane centering.
Yeah, I think once you figured that out, all of your like really good opinions just went.
Yep.
So, but overall,
If it's $250
Yeah.
a month on a lease or $350 a month on a lease, you can forgive
say-
some of these things.
Oh yeah.
Are we making this drag on?
Yes.
We haven't eaten all day. Let's go
Yeah.
get some food.
Yep.
Thanks to Honda for letting us have a go, truly.
Yeah.
Very
I
nice of them
enjoyed
to
it.
invite us.
Yep.
They also had the Moto Compactos here. We did not ride those,
No.
but Jordan has a whole review. The people at Honda are great. They're enthusiasts, car enthusiasts. You're telling me to wrap it up.
I think it's time to end this.
See you guys later. That's the Honda Prologue.